G'day everybody, my name is Lowell and welcome to the channel. So we've got a bit of nostalgia today. We're going to look at Kmart in the 70s and 80s and why we loved it. Now, we still have Kmart here. I'm not too sure if they're still in America. I think I've heard they're kind of going out of business or something in America, but we still have Kmart. It was started by the actual Kmart business. I think them and an Australian company started it 70s or something like that. I think it's 69 or 70, something like that. But we still have Kmart, still a very popular store here. Cheap prices, pretty good stuff, and they pretty much cover everything. So, but let's jump in and let's have a look at this one.
It's the name brand, and it's a saving. It's a good day to be at Kmart. Kmart, we've got it and we've got it good. At Kmart.
Today, there are currently just 2 Kmart stores that remain open
Oh,
in the
wow.
United States.
Two? Wow.
And embarrassingly, one of them was just forced to relocate its entire operation into the former garden center, while the main area of the building was leased out to a more profitable tenant. No doubt this was a
Dang.
humiliating experience for a company that, as recently as the 1980s, reigned supreme as the king of American discount stores. In fact, just a few decades ago, Kmart operated more than 2,400 stores across all 50 states.
2,400 and they've only got 2 left. Why? Why did they not? Wow, that's a fall. That's a
And for millions of
collapse.
American families, shopping at Kmart was a monthly, if not weekly, event. Join me as we
Dang.
take a trip back in time, before the bankruptcies and before the big Ks. Back to the days of Kmart cafes, mint green smocks, and layaways.
Attention Kmart shoppers.
For the next few minutes, there's a blue light special happening in the History Lounge as we revisit the golden age of Kmart. The letter K in Kmart comes from the name of its founder, Sebastian Spearing Kresky, a man who, were he not the owner, would likely have been a customer. Renowned for his stinginess, Kresky was said to wear cheap suits until they fell apart, and to put paper in his shoes when the soles wore out.
Oh, that's cheap. That's stingy. Okay, I'm Scottish and we're called stingy, but that's pretty stingy.
Born on a farm outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania in the 1800s, Sebastian Kresky was raised on the principles of hard work and frugality, 2 traits that would serve him well.
Scranton, eh?
In 1899, at age 34, Sebastian used his savings to open a chain of 5 and dime stores, which he named SS Kresky's. By the 1950s, Kresky's company had grown to 694 stores and was the second largest variety
Wow.
store chain in the United States, second only to Woolworth's. But the retail world was evolving, and Kresky was determined to evolve with it.
We have a Woolworths here. It's a funny story because it nothing to do with the Woolworths in America. I know they're obviously defunct now, but the Woolworths here, they weren't actually going to call it Woolworths, and then one of the people going to name it and whatever else, patent or whatever else they do with it, register the business, and somebody said, "Oh, you should name it Woolworths like the one in America," and he went, "Nah, that won't ever happen." And they tried it on a dare, and lo and behold, they said, "Yep, there's no copyright in Australia for it." So they named it Woolworths. That's how come ours is named Woolworths as well. Just on a dare. That's Australia for it in a nutshell. But yeah, nothing to do with Woolworths in America at all. So
On March
It's a funny
1st,
story.
1962, in a suburb of Detroit, 4,000 curious customers stood in line awaiting the grand opening of the
Wow.
nation's first Kmart in Garden City, Michigan. Upon entering, shoppers would find over 75,000 square feet of bargains across a range of departments, including clothing,
Dang.
kitchen items, home improvement, sporting goods, electronics, cameras, jewelry, toys, and much more. The store was a hit, and by the end of the year, Kmart would open 17 more stores in cities across the country.
wow.
Back
That's
in the
quick
1960s, the availability of such a vast array of merchandise inside a single store was a new thing for most shoppers. In decades past, the only retailers with such a wide variety of goods would have been large department stores such as Sears, which at the time were mostly located in the downtowns of larger cities. With the introduction of Kmart, suburban shoppers could avoid the trip to the city and purchase nearly everything they needed at a convenient location near their home. And parking would be less of a hassle than at a downtown department store,
Wow,
as
look at
Kmart
the
stores
car.
offered plenty of free parking in their own lots. Kmart just kept expanding, and by the early 1970s, they had over 800 stores up and running all across the country.
Man, my wife and I have just been saying the last probably a year, man, we need a Kmart near us. I have two within about 20 minutes, half an hour. We're not pressed for them, but we'll have one closer to home. We've said that for years. Oh, it'd be lovely to have a Kmart here. It's like,
Giving them a seemingly insurmountable lead over any of their competitors.
dang.
In 1976, Kmart made history by opening 271 stores in 1 year. Kmart now had over 1,000 stores with $8.4 billion in sales and stood as America's second largest retailer.
What the hell happened from that to two stores? What the heck? Wow, look at that enamelware from 94 cents. Dang, that's cheap.
Only Sears
Oh my
was bigger.
God.
The beauty about Kmart was that it really did have something for everyone. Families could go there for almost all of their usual household needs. And with the convenient locations and plentiful parking, it was easy enough to stop in and grab just the one or two items that you needed. Of course, once you were inside a Kmart, there was a good chance you'd be sticking around. Unlike traditional department stores, Kmart made shopping carts available for their customers to use. With the convenience of a cart, customers could carry more items without being overburdened, allowing them to spend more time browsing and filling up those
Electronic battleship. Wow. So they were one of the first to have shopping carts as well. Well, trolleys we call them here. Wow.
shopping
okay.
carts. As a little kid,
Wow.
I knew what I was in for when we stopped into Kmart for just a couple quick things. As soon as my mom pulled out a shopping cart, I knew we were going to be there for a while. But shopping with mom at Kmart wasn't really so bad. Although rolling around in the kiddie seat of the shopping cart as my mom perused the racks of polyester slacks wasn't very exciting, I'd usually be treated to a bag of delicious Kmart popcorn and maybe a cherry.
Oh, see, our Kmart here doesn't sell. We don't have a delicatessen in it in our Kmart at all. I've never known any Kmart to have that here.
Icy
Okay,
to wash
so that's
it down.
different.
Flash forward a few years when I was old enough to graduate from the kiddie seat and could wander off on my own, life got even better, as Kmart always had plenty of stuff to keep a kid entertained. The toy department in Kmart was larger than other stores and had better prices than traditional toy stores. Personally, I preferred to spend most of my time sorting through the Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars hanging from the pegboard. Priced around 78 cents, a Hot Wheels car was a prize I was sometimes lucky enough to take home. Then, just down the aisle from the toys was the pet department with tropical fish,
no.
parakeets,
We don't have a pet department in ours either. We're missing out. Dang.
and hamsters.
Okay.
Over in the direction of the Kmart Auto Center was a wall of car stereos and speakers that could be
Yeah.
cranked up to volumes guaranteed to annoy any other shoppers in the immediate vicinity. When the Atari home gaming system came out, there would usually be a bunch of
Commodore 64. Wow. Okay. Look at this. Man.
kids over in the electronics department lined up to play Pitfall, Missile Command, or whatever other new game was plugged into the console. You could also sometimes get your hands on a sample version of a handheld LED sports game like Mattel Football 1 or Football 2, or basketball, or soccer, or baseball. Other
Dang.
interesting departments worth checking out were sporting goods, bikes, records and tapes, and the photography department that was stocked with cameras, binoculars, telescopes, and Super 8s. Of course, Kmart was also the place everyone went to for back-to-school shopping. I remember starting many of my
Yeah.
grade school years decked out in a stiff new pair of Rustler jeans and a pair of colored suede Trax sneakers. Remember these? Outfitted with a Trapper Keeper, Mead Spiral notebook, and my Star Wars
Trapper Keeper? What the hell's a Trapper Keeper? I don't know what that is. Let me know in the comment section. I don't know what that is.
lunchbox, I was ready to begin the new year. All items courtesy of Kmart.
Yep.
Need a break
Yep.
from all those bargains? Just park your shopping cart outside
We
the
never had a
cafeteria
grill.
at the back of the store
Dang.
and sit down to a hot dinner of fried chicken, Salisbury steak, or meatloaf served with mashed potatoes and gravy along with a toasted bun and butter. And the more
Dang,
time
we're
you'd spend in the
missing
store,
out.
the more times you'd hear those familiar words over the loudspeaker,
Attention Kmart shoppers.
followed by a description of the latest blue light special. Nobody knew it at the time, but the 1980s would be the end of Kmart's reign as the nation's top discount store. In
Wow.
November of 1990, Walmart would surpass Kmart to become the nation's number one retailer. After that, things started
Is that who made Walmart? Damn. Okay.
to get ugly. Literally. All the familiar details that made Kmart Kmart began to disappear. In 1990, the logo was changed from the italic red K and turquoise Mart
Oh, no.
to a block letter K with Mart written inside. Along with the logo, uniforms and store signage were also changed to red and white. The Blue Light Special was taken away in 1991. A subsequent partnership with Little Caesars resulted in the removal of most Kmart cafes. Eventually, most Kmart stores were rebranded as Big K's, which claimed to have new layouts, brighter lighting,
No.
wider aisles, and spotless floors.
Man, that almost looked like our Kmart now. Holy moly. That's pretty much what ours looked like.
But it was too little too late.
Wow.
In January 2002, Kmart, with its 2,114 stores, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy
Oh,
protection.
dang.
It turns out
See, that's the thing. You change too much. You take away the food. You change the logo, which is we have the old logo here in Australia, the original one. But I've never seen that big K with the Mart written in it. That looks terrible. Looks terrible.
out that the new Big K stores couldn't compete with the wider selection or rock bottom prices of Walmart, and they couldn't match the style and quality of Target. And if you ask me, the updated stores just didn't have the personality or charm of the old stores, if you can call it that. They were just kind of bland and uninteresting. Following
But they were practical, and they had everything. They weren't there to dazzle you and entertain you. They were there to be practical.
the 2002 bankruptcy, Kmart found itself under the control of billionaire investor Edward Lampert, whose hedge fund ESL Investments now owned a majority stake in the company. In 2005, Lampert would leverage the assets of Kmart to purchase another struggling retailer, Sears. Expenses were slashed for both
Isn't Sears gone now too? I'm pretty sure they're defunct now too.
organizations. And with hardly any reinvestment back into the business, sales continued to drop for both companies.
Ah,
More store closings followed, and a second bankruptcy was filed in 2018.
dang.
From a peak of 2,486 stores and 350,000 employees, this former giant of American retail has been reduced to just a handful of stores hidden away in some unlikely locations. Safely buffered from the nearest Walmart by 1,000 miles of ocean, Kmart operates 3 stores on the islands of St. Thomas and St. Croix, making
Oh
it
my
the
God,
largest
okay.
private employer in the U.S. Virgin Islands. A Kmart can be found on the island of Guam, as well as in the Hamptons on New York's Long Island. Located in one of the richest zip codes in the country, this store apparently caters to millionaires and non-millionaires alike. And of course, there's the Miami location, doggedly staying afloat while running their store out of the narrow confines of the former garden center. For most of us, Kmart is already just a memory. But as for me, when I look back at Kmart, I'm not going to be remembering the big Ks with their bright lights and wide aisles. My mind will be strolling across those beige tile floors under the rows of fluorescent lights, munching on popcorn and listening for that next blue light special. Cue the nostalgic musical montage.
Oh.
Hard so they come true. You can get a helping hand at Kmart stores. They understand.
Kmart is your savings store, where your dollar buys you more. They give your dreams a helping hand. At Kmart stores, they understand.
Planning, planning.
Vehicle security, please report to Section 3. Security to Section 3, please.
Kmart is more than any store you have known before. Kmart means you get quality. It's friendly and warm, and service does not take long. One visit and you will agree. Kmart is all the things a great store should be. Quality at discount prices, satisfaction always you'll see. Kmart is all.
Attention Kmart shoppers.
If you enjoyed this video, I bet you like this next one as well. Just click to watch.
Attention, please. There is no smoking allowed on the sales floor. For your convenience, smoking is permitted in the snack bar area only.
Dang. Watching that video kind of made me a little sad. I don't know why. I've never shopped at an American Kmart. You know, we have Kmart still here, so we can go and visit anytime we want. But I think it's just that recognition of that era gone by, you know, the 80s, for me especially, you know, growing up there. But recognizing that, you know, time marches on, it doesn't matter who you are. So that was interesting to know where it came from, how it started, how it had that golden age, and then these cheaper stores come along like Walmart. Obviously you can't compete with Walmart, but just amazing how failed in America, but it's still immensely popular here in Australia. You know, very, very popular here, Kmart. In Australia, we have, I don't know how many stores we have in Australia, 300 or something like that. I don't know. It's very, very popular. But that was an interesting video, from over 2,000 stores to 2 stores. You know, a handful of stores. It's just that's a massive collapse. 2 bankruptcies. It's just, you know, you start changing some stuff that people don't want changed. You do, you know, that Little Caesars instead of an actual, place you can get different foods. It's just too many changes too quickly, and people just, you know, lose interest, I guess. So, but that was really interesting. That was a really interesting look at the history of Kmart in America. So let me know if you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for joining me today. Make sure you stay safe, and I'll definitely see you in the next reaction video. Oh, you're still here? You want more content? Why don't you check out my Patreon down here? You'll get plenty more content and some exclusive videos over there too. If not, why not check out this one over here?